Hey guys, welcome to another video of me, Callan. Today we're going to be talking about graphics cards in computer building and some of the stuff you need to think about when you're buying one and stuff like that. So let's jump right into it. So I'm going to open up my browser here and show you the graphics card that I got. So this graphics card that I got, it's a Sapphire 7870 XT. It has 2 GB of GDDR5 RAM and it's clocked at the moment it's at 1100 megahertz, but that's overclock, so I'll talk about it in a sec. So we roll down to the specs. We can just see some of the stuff that you need to look for when you're buying a graphics card. So the first thing you need to look for is the base clock, which is basically the speed that the CPU within the graphics card is running at. So the base clock on this is 925, and that's without boost technology. With boost, which is I think automatically enabled, it's 975, which is actually pretty fast by itself. But if you want that bit of extra ones, you can overclock. But I'll talk about it in a couple of minutes. So this is the hertz that that it's running at the moment. So you can change this up, down. You can underclock it and stuff. But just try and get as fast as you need, because what I always say to people if they're buying a computer is, especially graphics card, which is going to be one of the most expensive things, is think about what you're using it for. Because if you're only using it for light gaming, so say Minecraft, Team Fortress, games like that, which don't require much graphical ability, there's no point in buying a card that's like over 200 quid if you're going to get a game that's like that and just play it for a little bit each day. But with me, when I'm running games like, what games have I got here? I've got Borderlands 2, DayZ, Elder Scrolls, I've got Team Fortress there, we've got Max Payne, Witcher. All these games are quite graphically intensive, so I have to have a powerful card to be able to run all the games at good FPS, and hopefully when I get my new screen I'll be able to record them as well and put them on YouTube. So I need a powerful card for all that. Next thing you want to pay attention to is the amount of memory you have. So this card has 2 GB, and games these days are becoming like more demanding on graphic memory as well as speed, because the more obviously you've got multiple CPU core rendering, which is like, so if you have a 6 core CPU, normally in other games there will only be like 3 cores being used to render the game, but now it's like multi-core rendering, so you can use the whole of CPU to render out a game. And that's happening with graphics cards now, and the more memory you have for the future, it'll be better. So this has 2 gig, which I'm going to have to change in like a couple of years. I'm going to buy a completely new computer because it will be outdated by then. But 2 GB for now, that's good. GDDR5, which is I think standard graphics card memory, so that's good. It's running at 1,500 megahertz, and this is each point of each stick of RAM inside it. So actually the core clock together is 6,000 megahertz, which is actually pretty fast, and it doesn't need any overclocking on the memory because that's really fast anyway. As you can see here, 6 gigahertz effective. The other thing you want to look at is the memory bit, which is 256 for this particular graphics card. Now the higher the memory bit, then again it makes it faster, and yeah, the more memory bits you can afford. I think the higher the graphics card, so a 3 GB one might have 300 and something memory bits, but yeah, apart from that. So, and you're also going to want to pay attention to the stream processor when you're comparing, and the texture units, so when you're comparing a couple of GPUs, say cross company or and stuff like that, when you're comparing, pay attention to them, but they don't make much difference. You don't really notice the difference when you're actually playing games. So yeah, you also want to pay attention to the voltage. So you can see for this, it is 500 watt power supply is required, well recommended. It probably only uses about 300-400 watts on max load, but get what it recommends, and at least you're covered for however happens if it shoots up one day and all your stuff when you're playing the game shoots up voltage and it clocks out and crashes on you, which isn't brilliant. You've got all the system requirements here, which I'm not going to go over because you should be able to read them yourself. You also want to pay attention to the connector you need from your power supply, which is, for me, is 2 6-pin PCI power connectors, which come out of which I'm currently with PSU, like directly. Apart from that, that's pretty much it. Maybe you want to pay attention to the fans and the outputs as well. which for this card we have a look. We have one DVI, which is dual link DVI. We have one HDMI and two mini display ports, so it's actually 4 displays maximum recommended. You probably do more if you split these in two, but I wouldn't recommend any more than 3 at least for this card. Now we're going to talk about overclocking quickly. So I'm going to see if I can get my Afterburner open, which is the application I use to overclock my card. And you can see here we've got, on the core clock, we have 1100 megahertz, which is 125 megahertz above the base clock or turbo clock. The memory is exactly the same, 1500 megahertz effective, and I've increased the power limit slightly, so if it ever jumps up a bit when it needs it, it can use a bit more power. And the fan speed isn't automatic, so it adjusts itself depending on heat and depending on like how much is being used and stuff. So that's my overclock settings, which is overclocking a graphics card is a lot easier than overclocking a CPU. That's about it for today, guys. So pay attention to the core clock, the memory bit interface, the stream and texture units if you're looking to compare cards, the amount of memory, the type of memory, and the what megahertz it's running at. You also want to pay attention to the core clock of the graphics card, and all this sort of features that come with it. So we got power tune with this, which is increase the core clock slightly. So yeah, that's about it for today, guys. As always, if you want to see me do anything in particular or anything like that, then please leave a comment, message me, or find some other way of contacting me, and I'll try and do a video as soon as I can on whatever topic you suggest, whether it's new or old.